Calling all hunters, this is the ultimate beginner's guide to Monster Hunter Wilds. Whether you're completely new to the franchise, haven't played Monster Hunter since a previous game, or a seasoned veteran, this video will help you get started, so let's dive right in. How's it going, everyone? It's Abdallah here, bringing you a very helpful beginner's guide for Monster Hunter Wilds. Thank you so much for enjoying the content, and of course, if this video helps you out, be sure to smash that like button and share the video with a friend. I've got 10 tips for you in order to get you started with hunting. And again, this video is a beginner's guide. Those of you guys that are brand new to the game, I'm here to convince you that the developers have done an amazing job with accessibility and teaching you how to play the game just from the get-go. So let's dive into it. Our first beginner's tip in order to get you started is going to be learning how to use your different tools of the trade. The first tool is going to be the slinger. Within the first half an hour of playing through the main story, of course, skipping all the cutscenes to keep it spoiler-free, you're going to essentially learn that you have a hook shot on your arm. And with this hook shot, you'll then be able to grab things along the way, such as different herbs, different materials on the ground, and you can even use the slinger to fire ammo or trigger different traps in the area. You'll then get over to camp and you'll see Alma. Alma will then tell you to grab one of the iconic 14 weapons in Monster Hunter. Now keep in mind, you can choose 2 different weapons, one for your Seikret as a secondary, and of course your main one. Now, as you can see on screen over here, I chose Longsword. I think Longsword is a perfect beginner weapon because it's just a giant sword that you can swing around in order to deal massive damage. It's not super slow, and it is very fast and deals a lot of damage. So I would highly recommend just choosing that. Now, this isn't a permanent thing. You can always change a little bit later, but in order to get through the main little intro of the game, you'll be able to choose this. And then, of course, you can choose a secondary. I love the bow. I think the bow is really amazing because it's a great ranged weapon in case you don't really know the monster's attack patterns. Anyway, so taking a look on screen over here, if you go over to the smithy, you can see just all the different weapons. Great sword, long sword, lance, gun lance, insect glaive, there's all of them available. And it shows you exactly a small snippet of this. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one you should main at all. I've gone through the entire game with longsword because I have experience with it, and then I'm dabbling into bow. I think that combo is super great, but definitely try out any of these things that suit your fancy as you're looking through the different descriptions of every single one of these, depending on how you want to play the game. Our second tip for this beginner's guide is going to be heading to the training area and learning the different moves and combos that your specific weapon does. Now, right over here, as you can see, I've got a regular bow, and this little area is dedicated to learning everything. If you take a look in the top right, you can see over here that R2, charges up our shot. You can press triangle and circle in order to do a move called 1,000 Dragons. You can do charging sidestep after doing that. You can do a quick shot. You can re-aim things. If you take a look over here, you're going to see that we made a wound happen. The focus strike is going to be a brand new thing, so really learn how to use focus strikes by holding the 2 right triggers, and then essentially destroying any of those wounds with some awesome invincibility over here. So I would highly suggest grabbing whatever weapon you have, heading on over to the trading area, and then really going through and figuring out what the different moves are and what are the combos involved with using those so that you're prepared when it comes to the hunt. And like I said before, there's a lot going on with it. If you're ever curious about this, you can head on over to your play guide in the menu right over this way. You can go over to weapon controls, and you can take a look at every single one of the weapons over here to see an overview of what exactly each of the moves do. So here's charge and shoot, here's aim and focus, here's quick shot, there's a power shot, arc shot, charging sidestep, dragon piercer, instant dragon piercer, 1,000 dragons, coatings, all this other stuff. Now, it may be intimidating at first, but it'll be second nature to you when it comes down to it. And of course, if you have any questions about any of these things, just really jump into a battle and try testing them all out. Or we can ask some people online, ask me in the comments, and then we can go from there. It shows if you press the next page, there's trick arrow gauge, tracer and tracking arrows, and then it even shows you recommended combos. So the game really sets you up for everything that you need in order to start hunting. So our third tip is all about preparation before a hunt, and I'm going to show exactly what you need to do. Now, as you can see over here, this is going to be the Windward Plains, the first area within the game. There's all sorts of different people that can help you out with items and crafting and everything like that. But what you really want to do is head into your own tent right over this way. You'll see it simply because Alma, the quest counter, is right next door. So head on inside your tent, and you want to get prepared in a couple of ways. The first thing you want to do is head on over to transfer items and item pouch. You want to be able to make sure that everything that you bring to the hunt is going to be available for use. Now, I'm not going to go into what every single one of these items do. The main ones that you really want to focus on at the beginning are tools to heal your health, because you're going to need a lot of healing. Of course, potion right over here is going to be great, restoring a small amount of health. You can bring 10 of them on board. The mega potion is going to be something that you can craft in the game by using honey and a regular potion or some herbs, all that stuff. You'll be able to do it for a mega potion, so bring as many as you can of those. The only other thing that I would highly recommend is bringing a null berry in case you need some status cleanse like poison or anything else. And then lastly, always try to find honey and more herbs, so if you ever run out of potions within the game, you can essentially craft them on the fly, simply by going over to crafting list, taking a look over here and seeing what you need. In order to craft a mega potion, you need a potion of honey, and then you can just craft them just like that. Super simple. So that's making sure that your items are all set. Now, of course, with your items, you can actually make a custom loadout, and then essentially going through that, setting your loadout and making it just what you're actively carrying at any given time. So I love utilizing that function. Mess around with that if you truly want to. But your second thing that you want to prepare for is going to be grilling a meal over here. Now, essentially, if you just click on recommended meal and cooking with rations only, you're going to get a boost of 50 health, 150 stamina, and then depending on what other ingredients you have in your inventory, you may get defense, you may get some other abilities. But cooking is going to be imperative because you want that boost in health and boost in stamina for 30 minutes. So go ahead and cook with the recommended meal over here. Super easy. You can skip the cutscene if you really wanted to, but it's super cute to see exactly what they're cooking up. So simple. We're going to eat that, and as you can see, after you're done eating, we have the meal effects activated for 30 minutes. Now we are ready to go. So number 3 is set. We have our items, we have our weapon, and we have our meal already cooked for 30 minutes. All right, your fourth tip is going to be learning all about Alma and the quest within the game. Now, when you're ready to set out, because you've already done 1 through 3 over here, talk to Alma and she'll be able to tell you exactly what's going on. Now, you can choose to go on a solo quest over here, or of course, you can take a look at different lobbies by searching through this option here. Let's talk about posting and joining quests. Now, there's a lot on screen right over here, but of course, I'm going to keep it spoiler-free, so we're not really going to go too much into them. Now, assignments, if you take a look at this little area, this is going to be your story mode elements. So, you're going to be getting a new assignment, hunt this monster, and if you click on that, you're going to advance the story. Optional quests are going to be optional side quests that some NPCs want you to do. Every single monster is available, and if you really want to just grind out materials, you can absolutely do that. Field survey history is going to be different things that pop up in the overworld map that you could potentially pin. Investigations is going to be exactly the same thing, where you can see all of your pinned investigations that you wanted to save for later. Event quests are going to be something that you can potentially use for online when Capcom makes some really cool events. Lobby member quests are the direct quests that your people in your lobby are using. Same thing with link member quests. It's going to be people who you linked with. And then SOS flare quests are going to be something that you can see if someone needed help and you can join their SOS. So for example, we're going to actually hunt the Chotacabra one more time, and this was the monster that we got at the very beginning of the game. Now there's a lot of information on the screen and I want you to take it all in. You can see over here that this is exactly the monster that we're going to choose. I went to optional quests and then we went there. If you press R1, you can see all the different rewards that you could potentially get from beating it and injuring it and carving it at the end of your run right over here. Pretty awesome in case you need those items. If you press R2, you can see exactly what the environment overview looks like. Honestly, not that big of a deal in your hunt. And then of course, if you take a look at the detailed info, you can see more information about the monster that you fought. There's no special attacks that it does. If you press R1, you can see some more things about this. R1 is going to be showing you where the weak point is. For the monster, you can see that his foreleg is breakable right over this way. You can see all the different things that affect it. So fire elementals, the electric elementals, ice elementals, all the weaknesses of, swords, blunt, or ammo shots. Continuing over here, recommended elemental attacks to deal even more damage, effective status effects in case you want to use those, and then of course you're going to be able to see all the different broken part rewards. So it'll show you the frequency, all this stuff, which is actually really cool. I love seeing that. And then, of course, if you hunt X amount of them, you can get some titles. So there we go. There's a lot of information in the hunt screen, especially if you're struggling to find out where the weak points are with the monsters. So take a quick second to study what the monster drops, to study where the weak points are, and then you're going to be ready to go into this hunt. So when you're ready, all you have to do is click on Accept and Depart, Quick Start, and then you are all good to go to start up on your very first hunt over here. Awesome. All right, our fifth tip is going to be utilizing your Seikret after you begin a hunt. Now, if you take a look on screen over here, there's going to be a little track of these little bugs that are in the air right over here. So they're going to show you exactly where you need to go. If you press the map button, you can see exactly where the bugs will lead you. There's so many different icons on the map. You can take a look at it, but the bugs are going to be leading you all the way this way through here for your monster, and it's automatically tracking. Now, if you press up on the D-pad over this way, again, I'm playing on PlayStation, so you're going to use your Seikret, and your Seikret is going to follow this track to lead you exactly to where the monster's at. If you want to run faster, you can sprint, but I like to take this time in order to zoom in and grab as many of the items along the way as possible. I was able to grab an IV. You can see that there's some slinger ammo right over here called the Rock Burst. And then, of course, you can see that your monster is right over here. So using the Seikret in order to track the monster is going to be your first step. Now, of course, if you press left on the D-pad while you're on the Seikret, you can see that the guild gave you some items inside your Seikret pouch. You can take a ration, you can take some first aid meds, and of course you can take potions just in case you needed some more of them. So that's also very cool. And while you're on top of your Seikret, you can press right on there in order to grab a different weapon entirely, which is really cool. But we're going to use the bow just for this specific thing. So as you can see over here, Seikret, you can move around wherever you want to. You can continuously grab even more things in the environment. You can look around over here. You don't necessarily have to go for your target monster. You can just grab even more things. There's some more rock bursts that you can grab. There's literally everything. There's some materials over here, fulgurite crystals that you can use your slinger in order to do. But ultimately, when you're ready to go through and fight this monster, their monster's going to be right over here waiting for you to attack. Of course, we're going to be grabbing some thunderbugs. We're going to be grabbing everything that we can this way. Now this is a really cool area because like I showed you before, the slinger is going to be really, really helpful. And I'll show you that a little bit later. So anyway, we are just about ready to start our hunt with this monster. Our next tip is going to be observing the layout of the land. Now there's so many things that you can use your slinger on in order to grab things on the ground as you're moving through. We've already shown you that you can grab different species, different seeds, different bugs, but the main thing that I want to show you is how to inflict even more damage against your monsters, simply by looking around in the area. If you take a look up over here, there's going to be something called falling boulders directly above us over here. So what we want to do is we want to bring the monster right over into this area in order to potentially do some massive damage by dropping it on him. So I'm going to grab that right over here. You can see we're going to land right on him for a huge 288 in order to get this entire battle started. So as you can see, take a look at your environment, scan around with your slinger, and see if there's anything of note that you can use to your advantage in order to gain a lot of different damage against the monsters. All right, number 7 on my list is going to be learning the monster's patterns. Of course, we've got a Chotacabra right over here, which is going to be our main monster in order to fight. If you press in on the right stick, you can actually lock onto him, so your camera will always be looking at him. So I absolutely love that. Make sure you do that because you can easily get disoriented along the way. So observing the monster and just kind of keeping your distance is going to be the best thing that you can do right off the bat, because you want to kind of know what exact movements the monster makes. You can keep an eye on him over here. He's going to be doing a little charge attack where he tackles into you, and then he also uses his tongue in order to lick you along the way. Looks like he charges up, some sort of punch attack right over there. A big lick all the way from right to left. That's going to be a move. And then he does a lick that's vertical over here. Here's another lick that he attacks some other little monsters. And then there's a giant slam with his, looks like his right arm. Yeah, and then he does a lot more to that too. So learning the monster's movements is going to be imperative so that you can find openings in order to attack it. Now, of course, the best thing to do, since we've already trained with our bow, is going to be attacking it. Now, of course, with our bow, there's so many things that you can do. We've got power coatings right over here, so I want to go through as best as I can and do as many of these as possible. Now, there's a lot of invincibility frames with the bow that you can use in order to maximize your movements. So bow's pretty cool. You can dodge out of the way by rolling over this way. Honestly, learning how to attack is going to be your best bet. Getting a charge, jumping out of the way as he attacks, and really learning when you need to jump out of the way so that you don't get damaged. Now, right over here, see these like little red spots? This is our next tip. As you attack a monster, there's going to be visible wounds available for you that you can see right over here that you can lock onto and essentially destroy. That's going to be the best gimmick about Monster Hunter Wilds, is as you're attacking, these wounds do show up, and you do massive damage if you attack them with a focus strike. So learn how to use a focus strike simply by going into focus mode by holding the left trigger right over this way. And then with bow, it's going to be pressing the R2 and the R1 buttons in order to lock onto those things and really, really let her rip. Focus strike is so important in this game. So as soon as one of those wounds shows up, you definitely want to make sure that you do it. Now, sometimes with monsters, they don't necessarily have to be wounded in order for their weak spot to be shown, which is awesome. So if you take a look at him, his focus area and his weak spot will show up after he does like a tongue attack, so you can easily attack his tongue. Now, as the monsters get weakened, they're going to run away, so this is a perfect opportunity to grab your Seikret by pressing up on the D-pad and then running after it. Our next tip is going to be learning how to heal. It's inevitable that you're going to be taking a lot of damage within the game. Using your Seikret pouch in order to grab all of your different potions right over here is imperative. And of course, holding L1 in order to take a look at all of your different optimal health recoveries is also going to be very, very helpful. So use a combination of L1 in order to get your little radial dial on board, and then you can use all your different potions to heal. Because of course, as you know in this game, if you take damage, you're going to end up losing. So we took a little bit of damage right over here. If I wanted to run away and heal, all I have to do is run this way, grab my optimal health recovery, and then let go of that over there. So I'll go ahead and grab a potion in order to heal myself up. Or if the going gets really tough, you can easily use your Seikret to just run out of the way, and then as you're on top of your Seikret, you can go ahead and use an optimal health recovery. That is going to be the biggest tip that I can give you guys, is making sure that you know how to heal so that you don't end up fainting within here. So anyway, as you can see, this monster is ready to go. I'm going to do a couple more hits on it. This is a very beginner monster, and we are very powerful at this point. So there we have it, done. The monster is cooked. He makes his very epic drop, and now it's time to go through and carve your materials. This is the best thing. This is the gameplay loop. You head on over to the Chotacabra, you press the circle button, and then you're able to essentially carve 3 different things. We got a Chotacabra scale, we got another scale, and then we've got the Chotacabra hide. Now, the quest will end immediately in 40 seconds. At the beginning of the game, I would definitely say look around in the area. You can take a look at the little map over this way and see if there's anything worthwhile in the area, just by judging by the icon. Sometimes mining is going to be super fun. You don't need any items. All you have to do is go over to a mining outcrop. You can grab a couple things that'll help you grab some additional materials for crafting a little bit later. But as a beginner, I would highly recommend just looking around, seeing what you can grab within that last 10, 15, 20 seconds, and then essentially just going from there. You never know what you can find, and it's always helpful to grab things in the area because you need those resources. All right, so there you have it. There is your quest complete. We learned how to heal. We learned how to get materials. Now, every time you beat a target, you're going to get a whole bunch of rewards on the top screen over this way. So simple. We're going to grab all that stuff, and then you get some other rewards as well. So we're going to click on Take All. As usual, it's going to be sent to the box. and you can see exactly what you get paid. You get some guild points, you get your hunter rank up, your cat can level up, you get some reward money, and you are all set and ready to go back to camp. And here we go. This is going to lead us into our last tip for beginners. Of course, we've learned exactly how to carve monsters for materials, how to get materials in the wild, but of course, what are we doing with those materials? This is where we meet up with Gemma. Now, Gemma is going to be available in every single one of these areas, and she's going to help us craft different armor, different weapons, and a lot more things along the way. So let's take a look and see what Gemma has to offer for our next and last tip, which is going to be using those materials to craft armor and weapon. As you talk to Gemma over here, we're going to first talk about boosting and making new weapons. You can choose any of the 14 types of weapons over here. And for example, let's take a look at the bow. This is the very first bow that you start off with. It's called the Hope Bow. We're going to be able to get the Hope Bow 2, which is a little bit stronger, simply by giving her some iron ore and then giving her 500 zenny. Now, iron ore is found all over the place. You'll be able to find it. Now, if you want to go through and upgrade that again to the next level, you'll be able to get the Hope Bow 3, which requires some dragonite ore and some macalite ore, and a little bit more money. You can see that it also boosts the attack, the affinity, which is your critical hit stat, and it has some built-in equipment skills. Now, the entire tree over this way is going to be pretty large. So I would say take a look at all the different weapons available and go from there, and you're going to unlock a lot more weapons as you progress through the game. So the second thing that you want to take a look at in the smithy with Gemma over here is your different armor. Now, armor is going to be really helpful with boosting your defense so that you can tank a lot of hits when the monsters attack. There's so many different armor pieces within the game. They all look amazing. So I would highly suggest going through over here. And whenever you get some new materials, you'll be able to craft even more armor sets within the game and become even stronger. So highly recommend doing that. Take a look at what you can unlock. And if you're trying to get the entire set of helmet, chest piece, gauntlets, waist piece, and then foot piece, then you may get some bonuses along the way. So really, really look into that. And there you have it for our beginner's guide. I kind of touched base on a little bit of everything in order to get you started with learning how to play this game. It's going to be a very, very fun time, especially if you're trying to collect different armor sets and go through the game and trying to find different materials and different weapons, and you really work towards grabbing those things to get your strongest weapon possible. This game is so much fun. Anyway, if you guys liked what you've seen over here and this video helped you out, be sure to share it with a friend or someone else that's curious about Monster Hunter Wilds. If you guys want me to work on an advanced version of this because you already knew this stuff or you already memorized everything that we talked about, let me know about it. And if you have any other beginner's tips, let everyone know in the comments below. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see what the full game looks like, we've got the full game video available right over here on screen. You guys can watch that one. We have the full game of the post game, everything that happens after you roll the credits, and tons more. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.